And there we go. All right. We're back, Chris.
Right.
You want to bring us in?
Here we go. Episode 11. Over the Hump, Tooth Perump. And episode 11, we're calling this one Ode to the Studio 8/8 Shaker.
Ode to the Studio 8/8 Shaker.
Yes, we'll talk about that in a moment. I am one of your hosts, Chris.
I am Darren Benjamin, as always.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Vegas Day Drinkers. We're growing. Sip, socialize, shine.
I'm growing like widthwise.
Yes.
As always. I enjoy the finer things in life. Flavor, beer, alcohol.
But we both grow in stature.
That's right. 100%.
We're going to put this one together for you guys pretty quick today. We're going to talk all things SNL 50th anniversary broadcast over the weekend. We're going to talk smokeless tobacco on a deep dive conversation of bars in Las Vegas.
And I have a tobacco story myself that I'll be telling later.
Absolutely. We have a few percentage numbers on Kendrick Lamar and his Super Bowl presentation performance. New things coming to Vegas this summer, and Cheers Season 1, Episode 5, The Coach's Daughter. What says you, DB?
Oh, I just, you know what I was going to tell you? I went to 76. It wasn't a day drinking expedition, but it was a nighttime one.
Oh, did you see Frank?
I did. I saw Frank. I went out there to see a friend that works at Aliante, so
Okay.
I just popped in there, had a couple drinks, and had some food. I'm going to say the food was excellent.
This is the one by Aliante, right?
The only one right now, yeah.
No, there's two.
Oh, is there two?
This is number 2. The first one's on, I want to say, Losi and...
So a little context, 76 is a bar that's opened by Station Casinos. They're getting to the local market, so, the 15 machines, bar / restaurant. It wasn't bad.
Yeah, one of our backing structures is we both work for an independent pub, McMullen's Irish Pub, and obviously we'll probably mention that more often than not. But as those seemingly go away, the big boys get into the local gaming. Terrible Herbs jumped on board a couple years ago with their whiskey brand. Now Station is doing the 76 brand, which is, do you know why they're called 76?
I have no idea. Is that the first PTs?
Well,
or Station Casinos?
Yes, 1976 is when they incorporated.
It's kind of like a dual meaning. It could mean 1776, patriotic, whatever, and 1976, obviously. And that was what, Palace Station?
I believe so.
Palace.
Yeah, I don't have the lineage in front of me.
That oyster bar, if you've never been to Palace Station, or if you're like a traveler, it's world famous. Like, there's a line. There always has been since I moved here.
This kind of got brought up in another conversation I was having earlier. So this particular 76 that you visited Frank at, is it a standalone building or is it in a strip mall?
Yeah, it's your typical, bar. They have the 15-seat bar, and then there's a separate dining area.
No, but I mean when you walk up to it.
Yeah.
It's its own building.
It's right next to a gas station, like so many of them are.
Because the first one's at the end of the strip mall, so I just didn't know if they had a unique build-out plan or if they're just kind of finding space where it's allotted.
Yeah, so Frank, our buddy, he is working graveyard now, so if you ever want to see Frank, pop on by.
He's an interesting cat.
He is. He's a character. And he's got a dog. He's got a French bulldog that is a character all his own.
Yes.
Much like your characters at your house.
Yes. Shout out to Casey, Stella, and Coco. Shake your money maker.
Are you still doing those the canine?
The Coco dad jokes? Not as much. I'm still sitting on a database of some of that stuff, but it's been kind of hectic lately.
If you're on the socials, TikTok specifically,
Calm Canine Coco.
Coco makes some pretty funny jokes in a terrible Irish accent.
Which is, of course, is the reason. You watched the whole thing of SNL 50th anniversary this past weekend. I've only seen segments. But I feel like I can talk about most of it. But if you want to lead in with some of what you thought.
I thought it was hilarious. And I thought the 40th was maybe a little bit better.
In what way?
But just a little bit more funnier moments, I think. But they brought a lot of great hits back, basically, like Debbie Downer and like what's the one with the where they yell at the inmates.
Scared Straight.
Scared Straight, yes. That was the funniest skit, I believe.
I mean, between the divided between the cornrows and the as to be fro of Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, Willie William Mays Hayes don't do anything halfway, and his hair's half done.
Yeah. And it,
You have the talent of that episode. I mean, you have a Will Ferrell, you have Jason Sudeikis, you have Eddie Murphy, of course,
right.
and Keenan Thomas. I mean, come on, it was ridiculous.
That I reached out to some of the friends in the program, and that was written by Colin Jost and Keenan Thompson. So, as my friend said, he was merely just a vessel. And then I was already enjoying the sketch, if you will. And then when Ferrell came out in that entrance of a garb of whatever he was wearing.
Big red. Yeah. Oh, man. Like, I don't know if I ever want his nuts in my face like he got up in there.
And why it's just even more serendipitous that he comes out with a spit cup, because one of our other deep dives in like Vegas bar lore, local bar lore today is going to be about actually chewless tobacco, or smokeless tobacco, chewing spit cups and all that.
That will be my tale of the day.
That was just all the more just kind of things circling in my head, made me laugh. Did
you watch the Eddie Murphy the Black Jeopardy skit?
I did.
Yeah. Was that him playing Tracy Morgan? Hilarious. Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, Tracy Morgan, then Leslie, they're all kind of breaking as Eddie Murphy. I don't know if he was like ad-libbing a bit, and I mean, at this point, are you going to tell Lorne Michaels, you're not supposed to break from what the script is? And that's kind of been an understatement of the whole 50 years. But I think for the anniversary, there's a couple of things that went off kilter. So
I mean, like, what are you gonna say to to Eddie Murphy? Like, no, don't do that. Like, we won't have you back. Like, he's how old is he now?
Oh, he's got
70?
Mid to late 60s.
Yeah. So I mean, he don't give a crap.
Right.
Do whatever you want.
Right. Another one. I was having this conversation, and generationally speaking, and I posted that on the Vegas bartenders and servers page. If who and when watched the SNL 50th, and obviously there's always the diverse of like it's not been the same since 1975, and of course
I get sick of that argument because a lot of people get angry and have been angry because they say, oh, it's overtly political. But the show's always been political. Like, I think the first season they made fun of Gerald Ford.
Right.
And the point is that you can hopefully laugh at yourself, and that's what a lot of these people have done. Unfortunately, some people just can't laugh at themselves, and that's unfortunate. But comedy's always been political in nature, and it always will be. Right,
and the whole show started as the anti-culture to the culture, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It was supposed to be subversive and maybe a little bit of left of center, or right of center of the line.
The host, they were supposed to. I mean, George Carlin was originally supposed to be like the host of the show for the first season at least, and then it kind of changed and then started being celebrity guests.
Right.
But George Carlin was super controversial and like very funny.
I did watch another one of those segments on YouTube this morning. Was Alien Encounter. I forget what the bit was called, but it was with Kate McKinnon.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Then Meryl Streep came out and had Woody Harrelson, who was probably not really acting at that point because he was high. Who knows?
Have you ever seen his skit, the colonoscopy one?
You shared that with me.
Yes, that one is hilarious.
It is very funny. But I mean, generationally speaking, I think, I was having this conversation with somebody the other day. I think Kate McKinnon hits all the points as far as one of the best female,
She's
not ready
funny.
for part, and that Mrs. Rafferty bit and the rhyme phrasings they do, like she's just sitting there with her lady business hanging out, and using whatever wordplay she could use. I think one of the things she said, I just scribbled down, was the vagity is a tragedy when she was abducted by the aliens for the 5th time.
That's crazy.
And then Meryl Streep seemed to be having fun too. Who was your favorite through the years, female, not ready for primetime players?
I really liked that skit with Kate McKinnon. The one of the, I think the original one with Ryan
Gosling.
Gosling, yeah.
Yeah. No, that was pretty good too.
Hold on. Sorry. This is not even recording.
The whole thing?
The whole thing, yeah. I don't know why. That's recording though, so at least we're going to have that audio.
Okay. Well.
Hold on just a second. We're going to go off script for a second here.
As we add elements of technology, we are, in fact, disciples to it.
That's crazy. Okay. I don't know what's going on. Hey, we'll just play it. We'll just pull it together. Whatever. Anyway, Continue.
Are we listening to ourselves now?
It's now recording,
Okay.
I believe. Sorry.
Right. No.
Little hiccups here and there.
When we eventually post this on YouTube, I'm sorry also.
Yeah, well, at least the whole thing will be on YouTube, right?
Yeah, we're going to make clips and everything, get fancy.
Yeah.
I was having some meetings today with some people within the bar industry, so talking about some other things. And one of the things that we're currently discussing is where we're going to do our first meetup, a gathering of patrons, people, and personnel out there in the Vegas Valley enjoying the bon vivant of day drinking and enjoying what society and culture can be is, sharing ideas and talking and having fun over adult lubrication.
I like the sound of that.
Yes.
As you well know, I like to get lubricated.
This episode brought to you by KY. If there's no jelly, it's no smelly. So, all right. I'll keep writing, Darren.
Yeah.
We talked about it last week. Kendrick Lamar, obviously, I think the most viewed halftime performance of the Super Bowl all time. I mean, obviously the numbers just grow every year, so it's kind of
there's more people every year. So.
Yeah, quarterback passing. If you're Dan Marino, it's a lot different than if you're Patrick Mahomes.
Plus, this year it was available to stream for free on Tubi. So, like, people that don't have TV, you can watch on your phone anywhere.
Right.
So, it made it convenient.
I read that his overall catalog in Spotify the day after the Super Bowl had already jumped to 151%.
Wow.
And just the song, Not Like Us, was up over 200% in just a 24-hour period. So there was just people really jumping onto a streaming mechanism.
So not only did he get paid to do the Super Bowl, but he got paid.
Yeah.
Just because of he made a whole new fan base, basically.
If they truly modified that Buick NSX, what it was, the model?
Grand National
to help out the dancers from coming out of the side door in the trunk. I'm sure
they came from the floor. Yeah, they cut a hole in the bottom of it.
Yeah, I'm sure he paid for another one quite quickly. But yeah, again, we talked about that last week. An interesting song. I've listened to it a few more times. I'm trying to understand the mechanism, like I talked about last week. If it makes you go out, not that there's record stores anymore, but makes you kind of like look internally to investigate your own ideas and maybe turn on to some new ones. Mm-hmm. Well, then he's done his job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hey, did you see a couple of days ago up in Mesquite that the Megabucks hit?
Oh, no. How much?
12.5.
Wow.
On a $5 wager.
Hey, good for them.
No, absolutely. So just
mad it's not me.
Well, I mean, anyone listening who
what I've always said, you're either lucky in love or cards. Or I didn't come up with that, but you're either lucky in love or cards, and apparently I'm not lucky in love, so I'm trying to be lucky in cards.
Did you drive down to 15 or up to 15 to go up to 76 last night, or did you take the long way around?
No, it was during traffic, so I went all the way around on the 215. Yeah.
Obviously, the Area 15 project with Universal build out, they made an announcement today that in August, I want to say mid-August, Universal is going to do 4 horror houses called Universal Horror Unleashed.
Sounds scary.
4 different themes: Universal Monsters, Texas Chainsaw, Scarecrow, and for you, Linda Blair Flans, The Exorcist.
It sounded like you said Linda Blair Flans.
Flans.
Like, what would that entail? Like, remember the scene in Exorcist where she's like spinning and throwing up everywhere?
Yeah, if you go to an Asian diner, do you like flan? But no, I like Blair Flans.
How long? Speaking of throwing up, how long has it been since you actually had an episode like? I remember drinking a lot of like strawberry daiquiris one night about 10 years ago. And
that I went to William Peter Blatty?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sad to say it's been a while, so that's probably not good. But,
yeah.
I think it was more so I was like the next morning I woke probably 7-8 years ago.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
So I mean again, what you and I can consume is probably not healthy, but I don't put myself to the point of just complete.
Yeah, as we age, we get wiser.
Yeah, is that a bottle of water? I should
probably drink that.
I should probably drink that too. What were you saying about Canada before we went on the record?
Oh, so USA Canada.
That's right.
This will be posted today or tomorrow, so the game it'll be played today probably when you hear this.
The 4 Nations.
And it's a new hockey thing. I'm not a huge sports fan. You might know more about it. But I'm excited because what happened in the last game,
Yeah.
there was a couple brawls, and I heard there was a little shit talking going on. So,
Sure.
there's a little tension between the USA and Canada right now that you may know.
I mean, I'm more of a sports guy, and I watched my Jayhawks in basketball last night just get thumped by BYU, and I just think it's going to be a short season in March Madness for the Jayhawks. Unless they find the magic red slippers from Dorothy that she passed along the way. It's not going to be a big dance for too long for these boys. Continuing along the Canadian tradition, I saw some of our Canadian brethren posted some pictures on the Facebook group.
Really?
Yeah, Peter and I think Steve K did one with his the Bloody Caesar, which I guess is one of the national drinks of our northern
Canada.
friends.
Oh yeah. So I learned how to bartend at the Keg, which is at the young age of 21.
Okay,
that's a funny story. I'll have to tell that one day. But yeah, the Keg is a Canadian-owned steakhouse, and one of their main drinks is the Caesar. We used to make it with obviously with Clamato, and we would use some Dimitri's, which is a Bloody Mary seasoning mix. But when I used to make them there, we used to throw a shrimp in there and an olive and a lime or a lemon as the accompaniments.
Or the kitchen sink.
Yes.
Going back around to SNL for a second, did you notice anybody of substantial nature that was not in the episode or the anniversary special?
What do you mean, like in the audience?
Well, some of the, feature players, repertory players, not ready for primetime players.
Well, obviously Dan Aykroyd wasn't there.
Yeah.
And then Chevy Chase showed up at the very end. But I kind of went in a deep dive afterwards because, there's been a lot of press the last couple of weeks about SNL, and somebody mentioned, like back in the old days, there'd be a Beatle hanging around and this or that. So I started looking at all the performances by members of the Beatles over the years.
Okay.
And I'm like, geez, that's crazy. Just like some of the things they must have seen, and done and experienced,
What was the number? I think that John Mulaney said, like, they're over the 50-year existence of the show, there was 874 hosts. I'm close to the number if it's not precise.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think, could you imagine, one of these days I'd love to go to see the show and, go to the Rainbow Room up on the Empire State Building, or is that on 30 Rock? Rainbow Room?
Yeah, which is where mixology master Dale DeGroff made his craft of cocktails.
Yeah.
And in the lineage of all things Vegas is who Tony Abuganin, who has his Libertine Social at Mandalay Bay, considers a mentor. So it's we're all 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon bartending out here in Las Vegas.
That's right.
I won't go too far into this, but as it's in the zeitgeist of the culture right now, everyone is talking about SNL, and as I catch up to it, I've had the opportunity to go to Studio 8H a couple times.
Nice.
I have a friend that worked on the program. If you are close enough to know each of us, we know who that is. We'll bring that out a later time. But
I had a friend that almost worked at SNL, but unfortunately somebody else got the job.
True statement. So the first time I went, there was kind of a standing agreement. If you two played, we would make measures to make it happen. So
hey, that's a pretty good thing to have, an agreement.
Not too bad.
An arrangement.
Yeah. On a gentleman's handshake.
I love that.
And a text message.
I love that.
And a red-eye ticket. First time, Rafa went with me. Those of you that listen to the podcast know that he was my brother in arms, and we've done a lot of stupid shit together over the years. We did take a red-eye flight and walk the whole of Manhattan, all of Saturday before the show, and we're completely exhausted. But the payback was...
well worth it, I'm sure.
Well worth it. Standing on the back wall next to Luke Wilson and Conan O'Brien, and just grown men, all looking like happy children watching YouTube perform 25 feet from you. The next time... it was a little bit more, abrupt, and it was just get here however you can. Jason was living now in Greenwich Village, so there was more time to spend with him independently because there was some other stuff going on within the show. It was the premiere episode of the season. I will say this, and I've said it, and I've said it to you. I walked the approximate 30 blocks from his apartment to his 30 Rock Studio 8H. I put on my headphones and I listened to If You Go Crazy, You Won't Go Crazy Tonight by U2.
Wow.
And to this day, 50 years on, it's still the hottest ticket in town. And you can say what you want, generationally speaking, if it hasn't been the same since the 70s, the 80s, or the 90s. there is still a fucking energy in that city when SNL's on.
Heck yeah. That's great.
Yes. And I said,
I'm very jealous.
Yeah. Well, it's not meant to be jealous. It's just meant to be, we appreciate what we have. You've had other opportunities too with other things I'm sure we'll talk about eventually.
Yeah, of course.
Dana Carvey also wasn't there. Yeah, I had a very bad episode of LaFleur from my deep dive understanding. Bill Hader had previous commitments he could not get out of.
Okay.
Colin Quinn and Dennis Miller also not there. So,
gotcha.
Kind of like moot on what Dennis Miller was doing or not doing. Colin Quinn had, I believe, a comedy engagement up at one of the casinos in the Northeast. So just kind of reading the Variety magazine.
Yeah. There must have been some serious libation going on afterwards.
Oh, well, speaking of that, and the namesake of this episode is the 8/8 shaker. I think it was Bill Murray that said back in the 70s and 80s, come Tuesday or Wednesday when you weren't feeling so hot, be it you were exhausted or sick or any one of the reasons that if you've ever watched SNL extensively, it's manic when you're in the week. It's just, you don't really go home. You just stay in the building, write, cut, repeat. But an 8/8 shaker, for those of you in the know, was a mix of cocaine, Quaaludes, and nighttime Theraflu.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds devastating.
And you wonder why John Belushi is
I've always wanted to do a Quaalude.
Yeah.
Just because you can't get them anymore. It just doesn't happen.
What was the film with Jonah Hill and Leonardo?
Where the Wolf of Wall Street.
Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah. That was pretty funny. I mean,
I had a moment like that once, but my friend Dave McFall bailed me out.
Were you wolf or were you on Wall Street?
I was more of a woof, not a wolf.
Not a pretty girl walking by, woof, but a wolf.
Yeah, no, definitely a woof.
Okay.
So I want to get to my little tale.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's talk about, before we got to the tale, full circle. So I posted on the page a question because it derived from, I went into a local bar. A buddy of mine that gambles quite a bit of money was told that he could not spit there. Now, he had a spit cup. He hasn't drank alcohol or smoked in a year. That was his Lent promise to himself, and he's maintained that, and good for him. But he does do the Zens, and I've never had a personal problem. I'll give you a plastic cup, a styrofoam cup with a napkin in it, because it's not smoking. I know it can be considered gross, but I've just kind of, we're not working in fine dining establishments.
Just gambling. I mean, it's just it's a thing. People like to smoke, they like to chew, they like to smoke cigars, they like to do cocaine for that matter.
And the answers were pretty divisive. I would have thought like that potentially somebody that plays a fair amount of Keno or video poker that can make one's night within the gaming bar industry out here, you would just be like, all right, it's the matter of doing business.
I had a level where I would not allow like the vapes.
Okay.
They would have they have like the cigarette vapes, but then they had the hookah vapes.
Yeah.
And when those came out, I would be like, no, absolutely not. Go do that outside, because these kids would be in there doing 4 or 5 rips, and the whole bar would be foggy, and it'd smell like Fruit Loops.
Yeah.
So I was like, absolutely not.
I mean, this is all derivative of the 2007 or 8 Nevada Indoor Clean Air Act, which was obviously just a mechanism for the casinos to try and get the little guy out of the.
Well, I mean, it's federal law. You're not allowed to smoke it. I don't know why Las Vegas is any different, but
because we're rebels.
Well, it's because of health, what it is.
Of course, right.
It's kind of funny because speaking of smoking, SNL, I don't remember who it was. Somebody came out with a lit cigarette.
I think it was McKinnon.
Maybe, I don't know, but no, it wasn't her. She had a fake one.
Oh, okay.
But somebody did, and Dave Chappelle does that at all his shows. He smokes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why does this guy think he's special? You're not allowed to smoke in these buildings, but sets a really bad precedent, I think. But if he can do it, why can't I do it? So,
well, and that was the auspice all those years ago when there was a lawsuit, because basically it was, it was a bill that was being passed. It was obviously, it was transparent that the casinos were just, they had over 20 or 30 years had seen more and more of these local bars come up, and these 15 machines.
Yeah.
And now it's not people going to the big casinos because they're just staying in neighborhoods. And obviously it was affecting their business model to a certain degree. And they're like, let's put a stopgap on this.
Well, I mean, look at Park MGM. They're a completely smoke-free casino, and their sales are doing very well.
Yeah. I mean, I don't smoke. I've never smoked. You have smoked.
Back in the day.
No major reveal there.
No. It's a terrible habit, and I did it when I was younger, and then you get some health issues, and you're like, oh, this is probably not the best idea. Yeah. Well, my cough is it's a lifetime thing. I was a premature baby. I had asthma. I had lots of underdeveloped lungs. So I've always had it my whole life. So it's funny. Some people get offended by it, or they like constantly ask me if I'm okay, and I'm like, no, that's just how I am, my whole life.
Darren, what's your favorite '90s rock band?
Poison.
Is it Weezer?
Weezer.
All right.
That's funny.
Tell your story about the spit cup.
All right. So I just it's just nobody likes a spit cup, but we allow it or whatever. So one night at McMullen's, we had this corner of the bar. It was there was 4 machines, so it was between 4 and 5, and there was one of the pillars, the beer. What are those things called? Where all the beer taps are. Anyway, there's all the beer taps are right there, so you can't reach over the bar. So this guy's gambling, and he's probably in like $3,000 or $4,000, and he loses all his money there for probably 3 or 4 hours, 5 hours maybe. And he had been chewing, so he had the spit cup, and the spit cup, mind you, is a clear plastic 20-ounce cup, and there was a couple napkins in there, and this guy had chewed and spit so much that this cup was completely full to the top of brown spit from tobacco. And he had left it just out of reach, so I couldn't reach it. So I was like, okay, that's disgusting. I'm not going to touch that. So I got a glove and a couple napkins and a towel, and I brought a trash can over. Because I was like, okay, I'm just going to pick this up, drop it right in. And I brought everything over, and I had the gloves on, and I had the towel, and I put it over it, and I grabbed it. And I don't know what the hell happened, but it slipped. And 20 freaking ounces of saliva and chewing tobacco and it sopped up napkins went all over the bar, all over the floor. It was so disgusting. When you have that moment where you smell something that's so terrible, it wasn't the smell, but just the fact that it was all over the bar, I started immediately doing that, and so I ended up getting a whole bunch of bleach, water, spray bottle, mop, and just went to town and had to clean it all up. Just so disgusting.
But here's the operative question. Was it wintergreen or spearmint?
I don't remember.
Inquiring minds want to know.
I do not remember at all.
20 ounces of... Anyway. Yeah. And I get that point. But again, most guys spit, 10 minutes. And stuff.
It was completely full to the top, too. It wasn't it was just disgusting.
Which, full circle, that was the father of Haktua.
What?
That man. You didn't know that?
Oh, no.
No, I'm kidding. All right.
Way to go from the bottom to the top.
Media influencer, Haktua, coming to you straight from Broadway.
Is she in jail now for a crypto dump?
I don't know what she did, but during Super Bowl, her run up to Super Bowl down on the north end of the strip, she had a full billboard with her onlyfans.com/ and whatever her name is on that. And that 15 minutes has passed.
Wow.
So I have not even taken the time or the wherewithal to investigate what she's doing on OnlyFans because it's for artists.
Have you ever subscribed to an OnlyFans just to see something or somebody?
I plead the fifth. Obviously, I know it exists.
All right.
Yeah. Mammary Mommies is one. I'm kidding.
You're terrible.
Knock off a couple niche right there. So,
oh my gosh.
And then we work in alliteration. Mammary Mommies from Missouri. So, no,
nice.
Completely.
Triple M's?
Yeah, that'll probably be a thing. Just like you registered us on Reddit just to take care of something.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up. Talk Cheers, episode 5, Coach's Daughter.
I just watched it again because I've kind of jumped ahead, but it was a fun episode. That guy's a jerk.
Yeah.
That guy's a serious jerk. Coach's daughter just didn't have any self-esteem.
Right.
And she learned how to speak up for herself, which is kind of still very relevant today.
Now, obviously, the actress's name was Alyce Beasley. And
she was around in the 70s
she
lot.
She was a guest star in that episode, of course, but I remember her more so from a little bit more of a emblematic Moonlighting, where she was the secretary.
Oh, that's right.
Agnes DePesto for David Addison and Maddie Hayes.
I forgot about that.
I am pulling. This is not written down. I'm just pulling some names out from memory. So
remember when you did that album back then?
The Return of Bruto?
I don't remember the name
was
of it.
Oh,
was that
legendary?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
not so legendary Eddie Murphy's album.
Not so, yeah, but he did that one, and then obviously utilized his talents with Danny Aiello in The Return of Hudson Hawk.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
So if we're going to go down a Bruce Willis deep dive,
that's next time.
Okay.
On the next episode of Vegas Day Drinkers.
All right, that's a good way to cut it off. So
wait, Coach and his glasses. Like, I found that hilarious. He's naming all his glasses.
Yes.
It's like, that's Betty. That's Susan.
Yeah.
I think that's hilarious. Do you have pet names for any items around the bar? Like, that
I don't.
No.
No, not yet. But no, I guess I'm going to have to.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
But what did one woman tell me last night? Because I came back caffeinated from my break. And, she called me, she told me I was a hoot.
A hoot?
A hoot.
A hoot and holla.
Yeah, and Survey asked me, she's like, was she 70 years old? I go, well, going back to...
you rapscallion, you.
Yeah. Well, going back to Mammary Mommies from Missouri, it could be a Hooters. But,
there you go. There you go. Hey.
Oh, boy. All right. Let's get this one done and published. And thank you for listening.
And just remember, interact with us on Facebook. We got lots coming up. We've got a website. We're going to be able, hopefully soon, be able to email us.
Yeah. Email us. Let us know in the comments where you'd like to do a meetup in Las Vegas. I'm having some conversations with some bar owners. So we're growing this thing. And please don't forget to sip, socialize, shine.
Good night.
Fucking Missouri Memory Mommies.